Hey y'all, this is Jordan Mitchell, aka J Mitch, with the Funny Book Boys YouTube channel. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing how to create the perfect log line. Now, first up, what's a log line? So you know how you go to Netflix and you're flipping through different TVs and movies, and you see that one sentence description of whatever it is you're watching. Like for example, Taken, an ex-government agent must beat up a bunch of Europeans to save his kidnapped daughter. That's a log line. It's simply telling you what the movie is about in one sentence. Okay. Now, depending upon what your idea is, that might seem simple or rather difficult. Now, I feel like one of the perfect ways to sort of formula to write a log line is the CAG method. Now, this is something that I was taught by my professor Michelle. Shout out to you if you're watching this. So the CAG method is CAG: character, action, and goal. Give me an example. So let's take Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is one of my favorite movies. So a log line, I don't know what the official log line for Spider-Man, but from watching the movie, I can guess it's something like a remember character, a, awkward teenager with superpowers. Now with character, what I like to do is for the log line is I like to describe obviously what the character is, maybe what they are, if they're a teenager, if they're a cop, if they're a doctor, whatever. And I like to add an adjective, something to describe this character. Because if you just say a cop does X, Y, and Z, that's kind of boring. But if you say an alcoholic cop or a neurotic cop, it gives you a little bit more insight as to what kind of story that this is. If it's a heavy duty drama, then it might be a alcoholic cop or a cop with PTSD, something to describe what this cop is. Now, if I'm looking at a comedy, it might be a neurotic cop or a clumsy cop. You kind of see the difference depending upon what the genre is, and we'll talk about genre in another video. But Spider-Man, so a awkward teenager with spider powers. See, since Spider-Man is a sort of comic book fantasy movie, the spider powers lets you know that I'm watching a comic book movie or a superhero film, right? So that's the action, the character part of it. Now the action, so a teenage an awkward teenager with superpowers must fight the Green Goblin. Now that's the action. Now, obviously, in the movie Spider-Man or any of the Spider-Man movies, he's doing more than just fight the bad guy. But fighting the bad guy for the most part is what the character's main action. That's what the character does. So if I'm watching a movie about a cop, he must investigate, right? Or he must pursue X, Y, and Z. It's whatever the character is doing in your script. Remember, your script has to have characters who are active, and we'll get to characters in another script as well. But right now, let's stick to the log line. So in this imaginary log line, an awkward teenager with superpowers or spider powers must fight the Green Goblin, who is the bad guy, in order to save Mary Jane. Now, the last part in that statement is the goal. What is your character's goal in your log line? Now, this is going to help you with the formulation of whatever it is that you're pitching or whatever ideas that you're coming up with. You got to have a main character. You got to have that main character do something, and that character must be doing something in order to achieve what goal, right? So let's take Bad News Bears, or take like some sports movie. A alcoholic coach must train these untalented teenagers to win the big championship, right? Character, the action, what they're doing, and the goal, right? It's pretty simple. So let's say for your homework, if you're really serious about this, try to come up with 3 log lines for different movie ideas. It's always good to come up with more than one, just in case one isn't all that good, or you just want to make sure you have options, right? And then, in addition to this, once you come up with those log lines, and I forgot a key piece of information. With each log line, try to keep them between 20 and 20, no more than 25 words, right? Because you don't want to have it to be what's it called, a run-on sentence, right? So try to keep it around 25 words or less, okay? So write 3 of those log lines, pitch them to people, ask your friends or your classmates, what do you think about this idea? What do you think about this? Would you watch this, right? If it's solid, if it's solid, if you was to tell your friends or whoever what the log line is, then you know, okay, I think I should probably write this, right? But all in all, write whatever interests you, okay? But if you write that log line and make sure that it's sharp and that it's good and that it works, then it's gonna give you some more clarity as to how you will write your script, okay? So in the next video, we're going to be discussing uh, character and the main character, to be more specific. So this has been the Funny Book Boys channel video on how to write a great log line. So be sure to subscribe. I forgot to say that in the last video. Be sure to just subscribe, ring that bell, and you'll get more notifications. See you later.